And we're live. We're here at the L Perspective. I'm Mel Black.
And I'm Jennifer.
All right, so we're going to do something a little different today. I actually don't know what we're talking about. I actually told Jennifer, pick whatever you want to pick. You know, dealer's choice. So it's on you.
Great. So as you are well aware, Sunday night started Rosh Hashanah. And now between the 10 days between Rosh Hashanah and Yom Kippur, Rosh Hashanah being the Jewish New Year and Yom Kippur being the Day of Atonement. We are currently, as Jewish people, within the Days of Awe. And during the Days of Awe, one of the things that we as Jews do is we go to everyone in our lives, or we should go to everyone in our lives, and we ask for forgiveness. We ask people for anything intentional or unintentional that we might have done in the past year. We ask those that we come in contact with for their forgiveness. So that is what I would like to talk about today. I would like to talk about forgiveness. Are all things forgivable? Are there things that are unforgivable? Can we forget and move on? Can we forgive and forget? Are there some things that are absolutely unforgivable? And at what point do we forgive ourselves for the things that we've done?
Well, I think first off, you got to understand what it is you're doing. I mean, my mom is a prime example of somebody who will apologize but not know why they're apologizing. Mm-hmm. You know, like if she does something wrong, she's one of the people that would be like, I'm sorry. You know, I'm just sorry. But she's not really sorry. Mm-hmm. She's just saying that. I mean, real forgiveness comes when you really understand what you're even sorry for.
Yes.
Often people have told me that I say sorry too early too, but I've learned from the best.
Interesting.
Sometimes I actually really, really am sorry. Mm-hmm. And then I apologize. And sometimes I'm just saying sorry to move on.
Right.
I have forgiven some people and some people have not. It really depends on what you do. Mm-hmm. How bad the offense is, you know. I mean, should black people in America forgive white people for racism?
No.
Not really if they continue to perpetrate racism and don't understand what is racist.
And I think that's a great example because, you know, I think that often black people are told, oh, you know, just slavery was hundreds of years ago. You should just move on, get over it. But I don't think that will ever be possible until this country fully atones for essentially its original sin and atones for slavery in a meaningful and impactful way.
Well, I mean, if you look at with Colin Kaepernick, what's happening right now with him, and he did that Just Do It campaign, mm-hmm. And people will come out the woodwork and they're all mad at Colin Kaepernick, but they don't even know what he stands for.
Right.
And they've misconstrued it. It's the same thing with racism. I remember talking about racism to people when I was in college and they just didn't understand what racism is. And they're like, you're racist. How am I racist? Oh, because you keep talking about it. You're the only one that's racist. Okay, if you don't understand what racism is, how can I even begin to forgive you for it? If you don't even understand what it is, you're not even trying to understand what it is. I think that in Colin Kaepernick's situation, it's the same thing. Nobody's trying to understand why he's doing what he's doing. They just want to hate him.
Right.
And go around and cut the check marks, the swoosh signs off of all their
Which is
stuff.
So ridiculous.
And somebody said the other day, it was kind of funny, that they're cutting it off of socks and they're burning old Nikes that are cheap ass Nikes anyway. No, but you didn't see nobody, you know, cutting up some Air Maxes or cutting up some Jordans.
No,
nobody's burning that shit. That's just like expensive. You know, they're burning crap, but they already bought it.
Right. That's the thing. Like you're destroying something you've already purchased. Really has no impact whatsoever on the company, other than to kind of perpetuate the message that they're going for, and that, you know, well, our brand isn't for those kind of people anyway. Our brand is for people who are more progressive and more cutting edge and are on the right side of history versus someone who would cut a swoosh out of their shoe.
And not to go too far off the topic, but these boycotts are rarely ever successful anyway. I mean, how many boycotts there's been from Starbucks to Target. You remember when Target we were supposed to boycott them? You forgot about that. H&M.
Why were we boycotting Target?
I forget. I even forget.
Okay.
I forget. There was something with Target, and we were supposed to boycott them.
Okay.
I remember H&M.
Yes.
We were supposed to boycott them.
Yes.
Starbucks, definitely. That was recent, and I actually did boycott them for a second, but I'm back drinking lattes. There's a bunch of places we're supposed to boycott, and we forget. So, I mean, this will be short-lived. In a couple months. Their market share will go up even more. I should have bought stock in them.
And that's the thing. In fact, I was just reading that earlier today that Nike has seen a 30-something% increase in sales since the Kaepernick.
Because there's no bad publicity these days.
Right. And it'll be people like me who would... I am very loyal to my sneaker brand, and it is not Nike. But I might go out and buy a Nike T-shirt, or I might go out and buy a Nike piece of gear.
I run a Nikes. I have Air Jordans, and I'm gonna buy another pair of not Jordans.
Yeah.
Probably some Air Maxes or something.
Yeah.
Because I definitely support Cap.
Absolutely. But
what he really stands for, which is not against people in the military.
Right. Which is such a. It's very interesting how people could take his whole. I'm against police brutality and injustice, and then totally misconstrue it to be something else, and spew this false outrage. Like, it's just beyond ridiculous. Like, everyone in America should be against police brutality, whether you're, a black person who has been directly affected by police brutality, or whether if you're the police chief of a major metropolitan police force, you should also be against police brutality. There's no one in this world who can say they are for police brutality.
Well, if you cut off your swishes, then maybe you're for police brutality.
Perhaps. I don't even know.
Because you're misconstruing what his message is, and you don't even care to know what his message is. So maybe you're for police brutality when you cut off your swishes. So maybe I should pay attention to that and say, oh, these are the people that are for police brutality. They want more police brutality.
Yeah.
I can't begin to forgive cops because they never take the ownership for actually what they do.
And that's the thing that concerns me is that yes, we can say that there are only a few bad quote unquote apples in the bunch, but here's my problem.
So why do we have to even have that caveat?
Well, here's my problem. My problem is that there is no way you can possibly classify yourself as a good police officer if you are not actively standing against police brutality. Period. You are not a good police officer if you are not standing up against the corruption that is happening within your own department. If you are standing on the opposite side of the thin blue line, you are not a good police officer, no matter how you want to classify.
But why can't
yourself.
we talk? I mean, when we're talking about bad police officers, we're talking about police brutality. We're talking about the ones that are bad.
Absolutely.
So why does it have to be a caveat? Well, there is good cops. You're saying that all cops are bad. Nobody's ever said that.
Nobody's ever said
but you always got to make that caveat when you're talking about fucking police brutality. I think that's bullshit. Same thing with racism. Well, no, all white people are racist. You sound like you're saying.
But again,
I'm not sounding like anything.
But again, you are also.
I'm not. I'm very careful about how I say and what I say.
Okay, but here's the thing, though. You are also, if you are a white person and you are silent at the Thanksgiving dinner when your uncle makes a racist joke, you are complicit. You are absolutely no different than those guys marching in Charlottesville with their tiki torches. You're no different than the guy who stood by and let Hitler march through Berlin. You're absolutely no different if you're in a meeting with all white people at work and something disparagingly is said about the black guy. Your silence is complicity. Point blank. Period. There is no. If you remain silent, you are just as complicit as those who are actively perpetrating. But back to forgiveness.
Yeah, I mean, I'd be willing to forgive if you actually took ownership for the shit you do.
That's the thing. And I will say, like, one time I had someone tell me, like, well, I lied to you because I didn't want you to be hurt. And that to me was so incredibly hurtful because my whole thing is, well, if you knew what you were doing was going to hurt me, you should have never done it in the first place. And that makes it almost unforgivable to me because you were actively trying to hurt me. And so those things definitely, when it comes to it makes it very hard to forgive someone when you know that they are not taking ownership of what they've done or what they're doing?
Yeah, I mean, I guess if that's what you believe.
No, I'm just saying, like, if we're going to relate it to, you know, white people not taking ownership of what they've done, I think that it makes it almost impossible for someone to see the person even wanting forgiveness as genuine if they're not taking ownership of what was done. It's like people who say, "I'm sorry you feel that way." You know, instead of actually apologizing for their actual behavior.
No, I had a friend recently apologizing that way.
Yeah.
I'm sorry you felt that way, but they never actually apologized.
Yeah.
And this is a friend of mine that's a little bit beyond reproach.
Yeah.
In the sense that, like, this person does stuff, never ever takes ownership of it, and loves to point the finger at other people, but never takes ownership themselves for the crap that they did. In fact, they had done some crazy, I can't even get into what they did, but they did something really kind of heinous, and their mother came up to them and was like, yeah, what are you doing? And they literally went back at their mother. Who was she to tell me?
Wow.
She's your mother.
Yeah, exactly.
She is the person to tell you. So
because
I had no hope of getting any kind of real apology from this person. It was just some half-ass apology. Right. And I took it for the moment just to get out of the moment, but I never really truly forgave that person fully, and consequently we've never really been as close as we were before.
Yeah. Because you can't, because it's not an honest appeal for forgiveness. It is, you know, it's not genuine. If it's not, I'm sorry you feel that way. It's, I'm sorry for my shitty behavior. I'm sorry for the thing that I did that hurt you, versus how you are choosing to feel about the shitty thing that I did.
Most people don't take ownership. You know, it's not often that you get people to really take ownership for what they do.
Yeah.
You know, I had another friend who basically told me, you know, I was trying my best to hurt your feelings, and every time I did it to you, I knew I was hurting your feelings.
It's crazy.
To get you back. And, you know, I got a half-ass apology, probably better than my other friend. It was a little bit more. There was a little bit more to it, and just as half but apology I got, that's as much as I forgave them to some degree. But yeah, still in the back of my head. You can't forget. You try to forgive, but you don't forget, and then you don't put yourself in that same situation to be so vulnerable to even be hurt by that person again. Because
it's the whole, you know, fool me once, shame on you, fool me twice. You know, that's my fault. You know,
but people also tell you, you know, who was it that said, "Tell me who you are, and I have to believe you."
Yes,
you know, like
absolutely.
Tell me who you are. She told me exactly who she was, and I got to believe her.
Yeah.
And I've been in other situations where people have told me this is the kind of person they are. Okay, well now I know.
Yeah.
You know, a family member of mine used to always tell me I'm opportunist, not knowing that being an opportunist is not a good thing.
Right.
And they say it all the time, but they don't really understand what they're saying.
Exactly they're saying, right?
They're basically saying I'm a swarmy individual that takes any opportunity for my advantage.
Right.
But they don't understand what an opportunist really is. They think it's a good thing. It's not a good thing.
Right. So are there people in your life that have done something that is unforgivable?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. See, I don't know if
and I only half-ass forgive them, but I just don't forget. You know, I've had some horrible things happen to me in my life, and you know, I hold it. Kind of how I was treated in my life has kind of made me who I am today. People always wonder, why are you so angry, or why you talk like that, why you like this and why you like that, and other people that have been through the same thing have not reacted the way that you reacted. Well, I'm a different person.
Yeah.
So how I react to whatever stimuli, whatever crap has happened to me is just different.
Yeah.
Just because other people have reacted one way, or maybe they smile and suck it up, that's not my nature. You know, I hold some of that stuff, and maybe some of it I should let go. I try.
Yeah.
But, you know, like it's I often describe it as, so I raised a pit bull, the nicest pit bull you'll ever meet.
Okay.
But looks very intimidating. And so people treat her as such. It's her. And she's big. She's 100 pounds, big ass head. But people treat her as such. So she's kind of really, she's very cautious around people. I'm very similar to her. I'm cautious because of how I've been treated. On the outside and exterior, I'm like the pit bull. I look mean. I have a mean look. I have long dreadlocks. I'm dark skinned. I don't necessarily smile a lot. So people perceive me in a certain way. So, we sometimes embody certain things because of how we're treated. And as it comes to like forgiveness, like, I try to forgive the people for what they do, but some people don't even know what they do, and they never owned it.
Right. So then let me ask you this. Are there people in your life who you should have asked for forgiveness from and haven't? And is it ever too late to ask for forgiveness?
I mean, what are you talking about? There's people in my life I should have asked them,
right, like
to forgive me for things that I've done,
right? And is it ever too late? Like, say for example, if you know you were a jerk in high school to somebody, right? Is it too late now to ask that person for forgiveness?
Well, some years ago, I actually went back to some people and have apologized. I've apologized to my ex-girlfriends. Yeah, I was kind of a jerk. I did some jerky shit. I sat with an ex-girlfriend of mine not too long ago, and the stuff she was telling me, I had already apologized to her years ago, and I thought that everything was cool. But then how she was talking to me and how she was now reacting, I knew that I had done some serious damage. And she wasn't even really mad at me anymore, but maybe she was, just a little bit. And I was listening to her talk, and I was just like, wow, you're different. This is not you, but maybe it is.
Because things like that, they, especially, in relationships or whatever, they do affect in our future relationships, like, oh, well, maybe if that guy cheated on me, maybe the next guy, I can't trust, or if that guy, was, never dependable, well, then the next guy, I just assume that I'm not going to be able to depend, because you learn those lessons as you go along.
True. And maybe you never forgiven the person before, so you're just like holding and harboring those feelings. But forgiveness is very important, you ever be really mad at somebody, you're mad, and you think about them all the time. I'm so mad at that person. Then you talk to that person doesn't even remember
exactly
the situation. I did that, really? I don't remember it.
Yeah.
So there's only you holding that shit, but they've done forgotten and moved on.
Absolutely. So then the question becomes, how do we forgive ourselves? And how do we
that's, to me, that's much easier for me. I can let myself off the hook. It's me. I know the reasons why I did what I did, and I definitely can forgive myself. I try. I mean, I think it's easier for me to forgive myself than to forgive somebody else, because I don't know their reasons. I think sometimes when people break things down to me and explain to me why they do what they do, they can give me an explanation and I can understand it. It's easier to forgive them. But a lot of times I don't know why people do what they do.
Yeah.
Like there's somebody in my life that I'm harboring these feelings for because I don't understand why they did what they did. It doesn't make sense to me why they treated me that way. So I can now just sit there and hate them and just be like, oh, fuck them.
Yeah.
But if I understood why they did what they did, I can go, it'd be much easier to forgive them.
Do you need the forgiveness, and do you need that understanding in order to move on? Or is it possible to move on?
I think I can move on without it. Just time. Yeah. It just takes time. I think it would go quicker if I could get that like I can understand the reasons and whatever, and really talk to them. Then I can move on much quicker. But
absolutely,
without that, you can still move on with time. I'm not really sitting around here harboring over a girlfriend I had 5 years ago and be like, oh, look what she did to me.
Right,
no, I mean, I let that shit go.
Yeah. Interesting.
I have a friend who has a baby mom's, and baby mom's like, I feel like she never moved on from him. And, it's been a long time. It's like it's been 10 years. And if you talk to her, it's like the wound is fresh.
Because it is.
Yeah, but you gotta let shit go after a while. Come on.
I mean,
life moves on.
Absolutely. I mean, you need to, but I think a lot is said for having that moment of closure and having that moment either of personally letting it go, or actually sitting down with that person and having an honest conversation. Whether you get to that point of forgiveness or not, I think it makes it a lot easier if you actually have that moment versus time. We would all love to say, oh well, it's been X, Y, and Z time, you should be over this by now, but a lot of times that isn't how it works for people.
True.
Yeah.
Everybody takes a different amount of time to get over certain things that, they feel, especially they've been wronged,
Yeah, absolutely.
I feel like I've been wronged sometimes in my life, and, it was difficult, but sometimes it's ongoing. I could totally let it go if the situation changed, or somebody owned up to their shit. But sometimes you're in a situation and it continues and people keep acting and treating and you in that same way, so you never really can get over it, or people never own up to it. In the case of racism,
right?
People never own that,
right?
They just walk around and they just do shit, and they be like, "No, it's not that. It's not because of that," but it is.
Yeah,
and they act like you crazy.
Yeah, and that's a lot of people's. You hear people say that all the time, like, "Oh, my baby mother, she's crazy. She's crazy." I don't know if she's crazy, or did you make her crazy?
I've always disagreed with that whole thing, that you can't really make somebody crazy if they're not crazy. If you're a sane person, okay, so if you're a sane person and somebody say somebody, I don't know, cheats on you or does some shit to you, but if you're a sane person, you're just like, you know what, this is not working. I suspect shit. I'm out.
But I think
that's a sane person. A sane, healthy person is just going to get out the situation.
But I think a lot of times, a lot of people can bring those raw emotions out of you. That's why people say, "Oh, I just snapped."
Yeah,
because
but they have that in them. There's a little bit of instability inside of them.
Right.
Yeah, they may bring out the worst in you, but that stuff is still in you. So when you say this chick is crazy, she probably has a little bit of crazy in her.
Yeah, but I don't.
You gotta own your stuff.
But I don't know if that crazy would have ever come out.
And maybe I'm telling too much about myself, but I have I'm volatile. I understand that. And yeah, it takes some things to bring it out of me, but it's there. And I can't blame it on the person. Oh yeah, it's your fault that I got volatile. No, I know it's inside of me, and I know where it comes from. So you got to own it. I got to own that I'm a little volatile. I'm that dude that, I think I said in another podcast, I'm that dude that punches people in the face. I'm that dude who will threaten you and be like, I'm dead serious. I'm going to punch you in your shit. That's me. I got to own that. As I get older, I can't be punching people in the face, but it's in me. So if I pop off someday and snap and flip desk and punch people in the face, that's always been inside of me. And can I blame that person? I mean, maybe if it was a temporary insanity, if my boss ran up to me and was like, "You fucking nigger," maybe I would snap.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? But that's a rare situation. You'll be in that type of situation,
But I think it's the non-volatile person who, in that situation, normally never would react in a volatile manner, but then all of a sudden they're pushed over their limit. No?
I think that's in them. I think that's in them. I mean, you and I debated about an animal that you claim was really a nice animal, and I know to be not a nice animal. And then, in talking to other people, they're like, "Yeah, that animal's very, very volatile and
super loving, super cuddly."
To
super
one
sweet.
person, but to other people outside, this animal was very. Because so when I say like, "Oh, I'm talking about my pit bull again," I'll go back to my pit bull.
Yeah.
Now, she's never attacked anybody. That's the truth.
Okay.
Never. Not once. You can't say the same about that animal we're talking about. So, she's growled at people before and gave them like, "Get away from me."
Yeah.
Warning.
Yeah.
But she has never done anything to anybody, because if she did, it'd be very serious, because she's 100-pound pit bull. So if she snapped at you, attacked you, you're going to be hurt. And I would probably got sued, or somebody would got sued, and we'd have been in trouble.
Interesting. Maybe the other animal is a better protector. No.
No. my 100-pound pit is definitely a much better protector.
It's more intuitive.
It's just no. Maybe not even maybe. My pit bull is definitely a better protector, in the sense that it's more intimidating. You see a 100-pound pit bull walk towards you, you're going to be more intimidated than the animal we're speaking about.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Anyway.
I digress.
Anyway, so so my last question is basically going back to forgiveness is, are there any things that you deem unforgivable?
Murder, child molestation. I think some things are kind of unforgivable. I mean, I guess you could kind of forgive them. I don't know. I've
You have to be in that situation.
Yeah. You know, I mean, I've heard people say, "Oh, this guy murdered my mother," and I forgave him. I mean, I don't think I could forgive somebody for that.
Yeah, I don't think so.
It's a tough thing.
Yeah.
I mean, they're a better person than me if they could and truly forgive.
And that's the other thing is, are you truly forgiving, or are you just setting aside the anger and the emotion for your own peace and calm?
Yeah, I mean, forgiveness is all about you. That's what they say.
Yeah.
I'm just going by what they say. I don't know this all to be true. This could be all bullshit. But they say forgiveness is for you, so you can move on. You can get over it.
Yeah. And that's why, you know, during this time period between Rosh Hashanah and Yom Kippur, that's why we can't ask God to forgive the things that we've done. We can only ask God to forgive the things that we've done against Him. You know, if we ate non-kosher meat, we can ask God for His forgiveness for that. But the things that we have done to other people, we can't say, you know, God, you know, forgive me for lying to Joe. We have to actually go up to Joe and ask for his forgiveness because it's about Joe and it's about his feelings, and it's about his relationships, not actually about the person who's asking for the forgiveness. It's not about me wanting to feel like a better person through gaining the forgiveness. It's me wanting to make Joe whole by giving him his just and his due, by offering him the chance to take action against whatever wrongdoing I did against him.
Okay. I mean, I guess I can, I mean, for me, I can apologize to you. I know I have wronged you. I know I have lied. All I can do is ask sincerely for your forgiveness. That's really all I can do. To really understand, that it's wrong, it absolutely is wrong. My mom has definitely taught me better. But, lying is such a thing, I guess you don't never intend to lie, but you end up lying anyway. And everybody lies, even though people that say, "Oh, I never lie," it's bullshit. Everybody lies.
Yeah.
One way or the other.
Yeah. Yeah. Even if they say, a lot of times people lie when they say, "Oh, it's okay."
Yeah, that's the lie.
That's the lie.
But you also can lie by omission.
Yes.
Do I care, why somebody lies? No, not really.
See, now I would say that I do. I do care what the reason why.
Does it help me to understand it more? Yeah. But it's still a lie to me. A lie is a lie is a lie.
Yeah.
I don't like this whole thing when people say, "I don't ever lie," and then they lie. Like I was in a situation recently when somebody told me they never lie, and they lied like the next day. Like, what are you talking about? Or they say stuff that's just totally, no, boldface is totally not true. And we're not even talking pathological like Trump or some shit like that.
Yeah.
But just like in general, like somebody at my job literally said, "Oh, I don't make that mistake." What are you talking? They made that mistake that same day. So they're just in denial of the fact that they mess up. Yeah. And they can't own it.
Well, I think it's a little bit of both. It's the not owning it, number one, and then and then being in such denial of what the actual situation is, that it's kind of like Bill Clinton. What's your definition of is? Bill Clinton is parsing, well, like, oh, I never had sexual relations with that woman because he never had intercourse with her. So he is parsing his answer to a degree. And is that lying?
Well, sometimes too, it's just like, okay, so if somebody said, and this is the horrible thing, but somebody said, "Oh, did you molest that child?" and you had to explain it. Even explaining it makes you sound guilty. You know? Oh no! I mean, I know the kid was naked, but when I came, I was trying to put a blanket on them, and yeah, I mean, I did see them naked, but I mean, what? That sounds horrible already. Already sounds horrible. Yeah. You're trying to explain it away, and that's the thing is, you don't want to have to explain these situations, at all. You don't want to. I don't even like to be put in different situations, because explaining it.
Oh yeah,
is bad enough.
Yeah,
I think we were talking. I mean, this is a little bit off topic, but I'll try to bring it back. We were talking about gender neutral bathrooms.
Yes,
and I went to a bathroom recently at a college where I knew it was a male bathroom at one time, and I went in there and there was this little white girl at the looking in the mirror, and and they still have stalls in there. I'm gonna go pee, and I was like, "Oh, I'm sorry, I'm in the wrong bathroom." I got all nervous. She's like, "No, you're in the right bathroom. This is a gender neutral bathroom."
Yeah.
Okay.
But you don't even want to be in that position of.
I mean, come on. What, I'm in there like farting and pissing. Right. Like, come on. No.
But not even that. But the implied impropriety.
No. Yeah. Big black man, young white girl.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
I ran out that bitch as quick as I could. I'm sorry. I'm not putting myself in that situation.
Oh, absolutely. And it's the same reason why people, teachers are never to be alone with a student, or and those sort of things, and that because you don't even want.
Well, when I used to have to drive students home, if it was a female, I would make sure another male was there.
Yeah.
Like somebody else was there, like a witness. I don't like to be left alone in certain situations because it's just, you just don't even want to,
to give that impression.
Yeah. I remember one time when I was working at an elementary school, this one young girl did not want to go inside. Little white girl did not want to go inside. And she's like, "I'm staying out here." And I'm like, "No, you got to come inside." So I sent everybody back inside, and it was just her and I. We're out in this field, and she's like, I'm going to lie and tell people that you hit me or something like that. And I was like, I didn't want to go in 100 yards of her. I said, You know what? Okay. I got on my phone. I called some female staff. I got them out there, and I said, "Y'all take care of this. I'm out."
Yeah.
I'm not touching this with a 10-foot pole.
And it's interesting because even, recently I ran into a former student of mine and was telling him how I had to be on campus one day a week. And he was like, "Oh, well, if you ever, want to spend the night, I have a double room and with no other person in the other bed. I can always write you an overnight form." And it made me feel really awkward. Like, even though I no longer work there and you're no longer technically a student, I'm not going to spend the night in your room.
Yeah, you gotta watch that. That's
so
a weird,
inappropriate.
That's a weird, situation.
Yeah, absolutely. And I know, he didn't mean anything, salacious by it, and that, that wasn't the message that I received or his intention or anything like that. But it just felt awkward.
Yeah, I can see how that could be. I could definitely see how that could be.
Yeah.
Just being alone with a young student, is. I don't know. It's just nerve wracking.
Yeah, and these are college students. He's a full adult, but still.
Yeah. I could totally see that.
Yeah, for sure.
So in the spirit of Yom Kippur, I just apologized and I apologize to anybody who
absolutely
I offended in any way. That's never been my intention. I apologize to people I've lied to before, and people I've done wrong. I've done my dirt. I gotta own it. Absolutely. I always say this, that I got to own your shit.
Yeah. And, and likewise, my goal is to reach out to everyone that I actually know within the next, now we're about 9 days. But if you're hearing this and I have done anything to offend you either intentionally or unintentionally in the past year, please, I genuinely ask for your forgiveness, but, reach out to me. Let's talk about it.
And on that, I guess we're out.
Yeah.